Morning.
GM, what's going on, man?
It's another day of football.
Twice in a week. It's getting exciting. Welcome, everybody. This is the 11-11 show. It is a weekly show discussing international football as we get ready for the World Cup. And then as we get closer to the date, we're going to start making it more often. And it will be a daily stream during the group stage of the tournament with a lot more content, obviously a lot of Meebits football, and all the stuff that we're working on. So yeah, man, obviously very, very exciting week. We had the qualifying playoff finals and some friendlies. What do you want to get started with?
I think we get into those finals, the qualifying finals. That's where all the action is.
Yeah, you and I made predictions. So yeah, I mean, I have the results here. I don't remember what I picked, to be honest. But why don't we start with? Why don't you pull up the results? I have them up on my screen. Just throw it on there,
Okay.
and we could start talking about what happened. I think from the top, the biggest. I don't want to say upset, but it's Bosnia defeating Italy. I don't think it's an upset, and I'll tell you why. Yes, Italy is a former multiple World Cup champion, and they are freaking Italy. Series A, which is their domestic league, is one of the top 5 leagues in the world. They obviously have incredible heritage, and people feel that they should be on the World Cup. I made that statement on Monday. I said, how is it a World Cup without Italy and maybe some of these other countries being there but not Italy makes for like weird reality. But then I thought about it after watching the Bosnia game and the other games and reading some commentary online. The truth is that Italy, just like any other country, and there were some more like, you know, polemic results with like Sweden, and we can talk about that here in a second. But the truth is, Italy had the chance to qualify through the traditional qualification. They had a chance to qualify by winning the last World Cup. They have had a lot of chances. Obviously, that's harder than just qualifying in the traditional sense. But you know, the fact that it came down to PKs on a playoff final versus Bosnia, and they still couldn't make it, speaks for itself. Italy did not deserve to be in this World Cup. And unfortunately, they made history. They're the first former world champ, multiple world champ, to have not qualified for the third time in a row. It's going to be 16 years before Italy potentially plays another minute of World Cup football. I mean, there are people born in Honduras that are 14 years old and would have seen their country play in the World Cup twice and never seen Italy play in the World Cup. But
You're just
yeah,
rubbing it
talk
in.
to me. Talk to me. No, I'm just saying, like, you know, it should be a wake up call to Italy and the federation. And I think I've seen a lot of talk on Twitter about, you know, there was a big plan and you know, a few years ago when they first missed the World Cup, and that kind of like didn't get followed. So I mean, you know, soccer is a big part of Italian culture. And if you even if you look back at, you know, streetwear in Italy and a lot of like fashion, like they're married, right? It's part of identity. So my hope is Italy comes back strong to the World Cup. But you know, let's celebrate Bosnia. I mean, what a story! It's you know, two upsets on paper in a row. Even though Bosnia finished higher, and that's why the game was held in Bosnia. Obviously, they kind of just did their thing and double PKs their last round as well. That was insane. That was insane that they beat Italy and are now heading to the World Cup. So one stat that we dug up here is that prior to this final, the Italian goalie Donnarumma, who has a very polarizing, let's say, personality. He had a little like skirmish there with the Bosnian goalie as they both had sheets with like potential shooters and notes. Obviously, teams do a lot of like tape watching, especially because, you know, PKs are pretty much like a coin flip. So any edge that you can get, kind of like, you know, they study. You know, these are the 6 or 7 players most likely to take PKs for the other team, which direction they usually kick, and so that gives the goalies a bit of an edge. Doesn't really help all the time, but you know, only takes one. He had only lost one penalty shootout in his whole career, and you know, he's been around for a decade, and he had never lost one with Italy. And this is probably the worst loss for himself as a goalie and for everybody in Italy. Did you watch the game?
Yeah, yeah. So that this I had like 5 games up at one time, but I was listening to the audio of this game, and I felt so bad for the goalie because he's the best goalie in the world. He plays for, I think, is it AC Milan maybe, but it's like, I think at halftime it was some ridiculous number. At halftime, Bosnia had 20 some odd shots, like attempts, and Italy had like 2, I think, and they obviously had scored on one of their 2. So the goalie is just, you know, Donnarumma is like, he's just getting blasted. Bosnia is just like taking everything they possibly can.
Well, Bosnia was up a player, and
Right after
again,
about
that's
like what, 30 minutes in?
like it was the first half, yeah, and that's also like a mistake by Italy to get a red card in such a game. Like it leaves you in such a bad footing. And for those of you who don't know about soccer or football, if there's certain levels of fouls that will get you immediately expelled from the game. Now, unlike like best basketball or other American sports, where you know, even though you get expelled, somebody can replace you and take your spot. In soccer and football, once you get a red card, your team is down a man, regardless of when it was. It could be first minute or last minute, and so it really changes the dynamics because now it's 11 on 10, and while you know it's not that big of an edge like a hockey power play, given there's 11 players, it does obviously influence dynamics, especially in this type of game where it's like win or go home. And you knew that Bosnia was going to be all over Italy. I mean, the regular match, like the regular time match, was pretty good. Italy was dominating at first. They scored. They kind of like went back to kind of just wait it out. And Bosnia, just like they did last time around, they just kept hammering the goal until they finally scored.
Yeah.
And I think that that's amazing. Sorry, I interrupted you. I got excited thinking about the game because I really enjoyed it.
No, yeah, it was a great game, and the red card was like kind of unnecessary too, right? Like you have the best goalie. I see why he did it.
I don't know,
but it's like
it was last man.
He was saving the
Yeah.
goal. He was saving the goal. You're already up. I don't know. I mean,
It was a
proved
mistake. I
it
would
was
say it's a mistake.
But
It was a bad tackle, but
But
it is
yeah,
what it
like
is
I
now.
was saying, like Bosnia, I mean, they were just firing. Like they were just shooting. And obviously the Italy goalie, I think Bosnia ended up scoring in like the 70th or so minute. Like it was late into the game, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to go to extra time. So now you got to go play 30 more minutes. Again, Bosnia is just shooting. And then it just sucks. It's like, I feel like it's like in NFL football, like when it comes down to like the kicker having to make the field goal to win the game, like, you know, your goalie has already saved
But
you.
it's more than that. At the end of the day, like it wasn't the goalie that made the difference. Italy missed 2 kicks.
Yeah. Wide open too.
So you know, again, somebody that played goalie his whole life, like you stop 1 out of 20 PKs if you're good.
Yeah.
PKs are really just it's a huge advantage to the kickers.
Yeah.
So the fact they missed 2, I mean, come on, man. Like in the most important game of your career, probably if you're an Italian player, right? Like your team hasn't qualified, but it's history now, and Bosnia moves on, and they'll be joining Group B in the World Cup with Canada, Qatar, Switzerland. We'll get into the conversation about the group stage here at the end of the show, but you know, probably the worst group I've ever seen in the World Cup, and this is obviously a result or a factor of there being 48 teams this time around. But we'll get into that here in a second. What was the next game? You want to talk about Sweden or you want to talk about Denmark?
I think the Czechia-Denmark game was interesting. Obviously went to PKs, which I think Czechia came out of the previous round off PKs, right?
Just like Bosnia did.
Yeah. So obviously, like, I watch football not crazily, but like to me, when it goes to PKs, that's like I love it. It's intense, right? Like it's
If you're
fun to
American,
watch.
you guys like that. You like that sudden death,
Yeah, it comes down
coin
to
flip
wire.
situation.
But yeah, I think with Czechia, like they, you know, going back to our analytics and stats and stuff, like they had their 10th goal from a set piece, which was the most by any country. So
In qualifying.
in qualifying, correct.
Yeah.
So they've figured out they've got their set pieces down. So that's interesting to see if that will convert into the World Cup. But yeah, I mean, it comes down.
Yeah,
to
and just to give everybody context, again, the soccer field is pretty big, almost as big as a football field. So a set piece is when obviously there's like a dead ball that gets put back into play, and it's you can plan all you want, but there's dynamics that make it difficult to get the exact execution that you plan for. First and foremost, I mean, if you're kicking a ball, obviously it's a lot harder to control where it's going. Obviously, like a field goal in football, it's a big goal that you have to make, so you can have a lot of degrees of variance of where that ball goes, and you still score the 3 points or the extra kick. With soccer, with football, obviously, right, like if you're trying to set it for like a header, or in the case of set pieces like these where maybe there's another pass before the striker comes in, like it's a very specific place where you have to put that ball. Right, if somebody's trying to head it in, like obviously a human head is a lot smaller than a field goal. Think of it like an alley-oop in basketball. Again, the basketball goal, the basket, is small, but also the field of play, right? The court in basketball is a lot smaller than it is in soccer. Like a box in a soccer field is much larger, and there's a lot of dynamics there. So being able to like score so often on set pieces, that's a huge strength. It's something that honestly, like, there's not one team that has really been able to ever capitalize on it over time. It depends on playing styles, coaching styles, the talent that you have on hand. There's no system when it comes to that. So that's a very impressive achievement by Czechia. And if I do remember correctly, right, I got Italy on my call wrong
Yeah.
on Monday, but I did call for Czechia. Shout out to Sasha, our intern. And yeah, Czechia now, funny enough, joins Mexico in Group A along Korea and South Africa. And we will be playing. So Mexico plays Czechia on our third group stage match. Was looking into tickets for that yesterday when the last sale tickets came out, and we can talk about ticket prices here later on. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a good group A in Mexico. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add there to our sadly our Danish friends obviously not gonna join us in the World Cup. Um, it's so funny because Mexican football Twitter and just cultural Twitter was very sad not to have the presence of the Danish fan base in Mexico. Now talking about results that have really just get people riled up. Sweden versus Poland. It was a 3-2 in regular time. Very late game score. It was minute 88, as you guys can see here on screen. Sweden got their revenge. We mentioned on Monday, they lost to Poland 4 years ago in the same playoff final. And Victor Gyökeres, right, if I'm pronouncing it right, he was the hero again. He is their star for Sweden. He did not score a hat trick like he did the previous time, but he did score the goal that sent them to the World Cup. And yes, if you must know, this was the first ever playoff final rematch in history. A couple. First, let me get your take on that. I didn't get to watch this one, but I don't know if you watched. Do you have any takes on it?
Yeah, I did. I was watching it, and
You were going for Poland, right?
I,
Because of
yeah, I mean
Lewandowski.
Lewandowski, which he's probably done, right? Like he's older.
Yeah.
This is it for him. So it was, in fact, when the match ended, he was just kneeling on the field. He must have had some nose problem or something because he was wearing like that face mask thing. Um,
Yeah, he does. He's got like face
but
protection.
yeah, the camera just like, they had just like left it on him, and you could just see him starting to realize like that was it. That was
That was it.
the last time I get to do it. But no, like my jaw like was literally just. For those that don't understand, like an 88th minute goal is a buzzer beater. Like in basketball, like
Yeah.
that's it. That's like the last second on the clock. So, yeah, I was just shocked. I was thinking, okay, well, at least we'll go to extra time. We're in the 88th minute, and then freaking Gyökeres just puts it through. So, but
Yeah, and again, Poland was the favorite here.
yeah,
And one thing so you guys know when you're watching soccer scores, we do it inverse of what American sports um, American sports do, but actually we showed it here the regular way. But yeah, we can talk about that another time. I did want to add that there's a lot of noise about Sweden going through to the World Cup instead of Poland or any of the other teams that got knocked off or left out because Sweden did not win a game, I don't think, in qualifying at all. And the reason they were in the playoff was because of the way it's structured. They had done really well in the European tournament, so not the qualifier, but like the European continental tournament, and they earned their spot on the playoffs. And so, yeah, I think Poland had like 18 points in qualifying, and Sweden had like 3. And obviously, it came down to this match. You can make an argument that, well, when it matters, Sweden came out on top, and that's sport. That's the way it is, and that's true. I do share that view, but yeah, it's just it never feels fair when you get left out. Same thing as we said with Italy, like Poland. They're good enough to be in the World Cup. They would have qualified, through qualification stage or beaten Sweden. They didn't, and so they're out. And Sweden is going through. Let's see, they are joining Group F. This is a good one. Netherlands, Japan, who's in top form, and we'll talk about some of their friendly results here. They're like my dark horse pick really quickly here. And Tunisia. That's Group F that Sweden earned the right to join. And yeah, the last game, I feel like it was not a shocker to anybody. I think that was probably the most expected one. What did you think about Turkey beating Kosovo?
I mean, I wanted Kosovo.
I know.
And it was a good game. Like, Turkey scored relatively early. Kosovo they never gave up. At least they never gave up. They just kept trying. They got close on a couple. In fact, like there was some heated moments where, like, potential penalty kick in the box for Kosovo type stuff, but just couldn't find the back of the net, and that was the end of it. So
yeah, I didn't watch it. Kosovo, good run. I think what's interesting from this is that Turkey was their sixth win in a row, I believe.
yeah.
No, it was their sixth match in a row without losing, which that's just coming into the World Cup in really good form, and something that, I mean, the Americans, for example, are on the other side of that. Something that does come into play. Like, if you have that kind of momentum, that streak coming into the tournament, it does play in your advantage. And so Turkey is joining. Let me see. I'm looking at the groups here. They're joining America in Group D. It's the United States, Paraguay, and Australia. That makes up Group D. Turkey joining there, and so yeah, you guys will probably have to follow it a little closer if you're American, given that obviously they'll play a role in whether the U.S. advances or not to the knockout stage. Shall we move on to the international playoffs?
Yes, sir. My boys in
Ooh,
Congo.
this image that we have is mislabeled, but it's okay. Your boys in Congo. Wow. I mean, listen, obviously I was going for the Reggae Boys, but there's been a lot of videos that came out of Mexico from that game. Just two games were played in Mexico. There was like 40,000 people at the stadium. Just like, Mexicans were crazy about football. And even though like neither team really like hits close to home, people went and they were like chanting. There's a lot of videos. I mean, we Mexicans love to do this, right? Like, get international people and teach them how to like say cuss words. In Mexico, we use cuss words a lot, but like they're not extremely aggressive. Like I feel like Mexican Spanish is like really cool, and how we, depending on the context, the words mean very different things. And cuss words, traditional cuss words, can be actually quite friendly how you use them, or they can just be fun phrases. And so a lot of videos of Mexican Twitter and Mexican Instagram about Congo fans being taught how to like chant things against. There's like a team in Mexico, America, which is one of the traditional teams, and it's like one of those. It's like the Yankees or the Cowboys. You either love them or like everybody else hates them. It's like everybody like has a rival, but then America is like everybody's rival also. So there's a lot of chants against America, and yeah, there was a lot of videos of people from Congo being taught how to chant against it, which was really, really funny. But strong performance. They were the favorite, if I remember correctly, from our poly market odds. So again, no surprise there. It'll be good to see them in the World Cup. They do have a fan that goes to the stands and just stands still wearing an outfit that resembles, I think it's their founders. And the whole time he's just standing like a statue, which is pretty cool. Hopefully he makes it out to the games. Congo, with that win, joins. Man, there's so many flags on this graphic. Let me see. Where are they? Which group are they? Do you know? Group K. They're going to be joining Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Probably not close to the favorites there with Portugal and Colombia, but you never know. You never know. And then the last match I did not watch to watch.
I didn't watch that
Iraq defeating Bolivia.
no.
Yeah, Iraq, just from the highlights, it just seems like, again, they have a strong team. Um, Obviously, Bolivia always gets like this advantage in qualifying in South America because their stadium is a very high elevation, like really high elevation. I think it's the highest elevation capital in the world. And so when teams go to play there, they always get like, they don't perform as well. Yeah. Yeah, obviously when you're not there, a little disadvantage. And the Iraq team look good. Again, Mexican Twitter full of videos of people cheering for Iraq. A lot of like the cultures just connecting. I mean, honestly, I wasn't planning on going to the World Cup in Mexico, and the tickets are very expensive, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Watching these videos, I might just go just to be there for like the celebrations. It's yeah,
it made me want to go to get in, but
right. So Iraq, last country to make the 2026 FIFA World Cup. They will be joining Group I with France, which in my opinion, they are my favorites. They're like, I will bet on them to win. Senegal, always a powerhouse out of Africa. Norway, which is not only a Winter Olympics powerhouse, but has really been building up in football. And I think Iraq is probably going to have a hard time moving on from that group. But again, you never know. You never know. So yeah, the stage is set. Here, let me share this little graphic with all 48 flags, all the teams that will be playing in Mexico, the US, and Canada. The World Cup kicks off on June 11th in Mexico City with the Mexico-South Africa match. And then I believe it goes to Canada with their first game, then the US, and then most matches will be here in the States. Same for the knockout stage, and then the final will be here in, it's funny, they call it New York, New Jersey, but the stadium is clearly in New Jersey. Just nobody wants to come to New Jersey. But yeah, the stadium where the Jets and the Giants play it, I think it's still called MetLife Stadium, I don't know. In FIFA rules, as we said before, they don't allow brand sponsors to keep the names on their stadium during the World Cup. So it's called the New York, New Jersey Stadium. And yeah, again, we talked about it a few weeks ago. There's like countries that you probably didn't even remember existed. And it's just really cool to see this like global celebration of soccer, a sport that is so welcoming, I would say, right? It's really, really easy to play soccer. All you need is 2 backpacks and an old 2-liter bottle of soda. That's how I grew up playing on the street in Mexico. I didn't live on the street, but we didn't have a soccer ball because we would like run out of them and they were expensive. So you can play soccer with anything, anywhere. And I'm seeing it here in New York a lot. Like there's a lot of like roof pitches, a lot of like footy, indoor soccer. So if, one of the most expensive cities in the world is seeing that, I'm hoping that the sport continues to grow. So I'll just quickly go through all the groups. Why don't we alternate so I can take a drink of water here? So I'll start with Group A. Mexico, the best country in the world. South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia.
Yep. And then Group B, we have Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland.
Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland.
And Group D, our boys in the stripes, US, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey.
Group E has Germany, Curacao, the smallest country in the world, I think, or something like that. Very, very tiny country made it to the World Cup. Ivory Coast and Ecuador.
Group F with the Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia.
That's probably one of the strongest groups, as we said earlier. Anyways, Group G, Belgium, dark horse. Again, I don't think people really know how good they are if you don't follow international soccer. Egypt, Mo Salah, right there, one of the best players in the world. Getting a little old, but never know. Iran and New Zealand.
Speaking of Iran, I saw that it looks like FIFA did work it out with them. They will be coming, so that's good.
Yes.
And then Group H, Spain, who I think are still the predicted favorites, right?
Yep.
So we've got Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay.
Uruguay is another dark horse. I think people don't really realize how good they are if you don't follow international soccer. Group I was just talking about it. My favorites, France. I mean, their trio of forwards is just so good, and their kits are great. Yeah, they probably have the best two kits, like the 1-2 combination, home and away are beautiful. Senegal, Iraq, and Norway.
Group J, Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan.
Group K, Portugal, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia.
And then lastly, Group L, and that's England, Croatia, the Black Stars of Ghana, and Panama.
You know, Mexico could face England depending on results in the knockout stage in Mexico City, and people are very excited for that.
Interesting fact,
but-
too, speaking of all the group stage and stuff, with Congo going in, Africa has 10 countries represented at the World Cup, which I believe is the most they've ever had in one cup. So
That's awesome.
Love
I
to see
mean,
that.
Africa's such a big continent.
massive.
Massive.
Are you
All
ready
right,
to
so-
see your picks? You ready to see who won?
Yeah. You haven't put them up.
I don't have them on a graphic, but
Okay.
how do you think you did?
I think I got like, how many picks were there? 6?
There
I
were
think
6.
probably I got 3 out of 6.
So match 1, obviously Bosnia, Italy. You had Italy. I had Bosnia. So I won that one. Match 2 was Poland and Sweden. You had Sweden. I had Poland. So we're tied. Match
My
3
Swedes.
was Kosovo and Turkey. We both had Kosovo. So we both lost that one. Match 4 was Denmark and Czechia. You had Czechia. I had Denmark. So you took a point there. Match 5 was Bolivia and Iraq.
Congo. Oh, yeah. Right.
And we both had Bolivia, so we both lost there. And then the last match was Congo and Jamaica, and obviously I had.
So
Congo,
we tied.
we tied.
Damn it. All right. Fine. I'll take it. Cool. All right. So let's move on to the international friendlies. There was a lot of games on Monday and Tuesday, and here now on screen you can see the results of those. And again, for those of you who didn't join earlier in the week on Monday, FIFA sets dates so that players from the clubs can get called up to the national squads. This time around, these games they don't count for anything, but teams are going to finalize both their lineups and then just who's getting called up for the tournament. And this is the last few games where players can really make a case for themselves to be called up or to be obviously named to the starting 11. And then for some teams that are still trying to find their footing, there's been some like coaches getting fired, so last chance to fine tune things. And then it was an interesting slate of results. Why don't we start with well, obviously Germany beat Ghana 2-1. I don't think much to add there. Norway, Switzerland was a scoreless tie. Both teams a lot stronger than people would imagine, I would say. But for me, really, as I said earlier, Japan beating England 1-0, as the British say, was a eye-opener to what really strong form Japan have been carrying. And they actually became the first ever Asian country to beat England. Obviously, England, we've said it many times before, they are the birthplace of football. They're also one of the favorites for the World Cup. They were still, here, I'll share this real quickly. Some movement at the top. Spain still the favorite. France just passed England, and we'll speak into why France passed England. I think it was more France outperforming, but also England suffering that loss. Not a very good look. But for me, the story is Japan. Japan is really, I think, one of those sleeper Sleeper picks.
I think this
All right, you.
proves what we've talked about too on a couple past shows. Like, there's going to be one of those teams who, like, so, England's 12% on Polymarket, Japan's 1.8% on Polymarket. So anything can happen, right? Like, there will be one of those teams that'll get out of the group stages, they'll get into the knockout round, and they'll make a run, and there'll be a 1.8% chance on Polymarket that, ends up going deep into the tournament. And eventually, that's where the knockout round gets fun, because once you get to the knockout round, it's one and done, right? So you have something like
Win or
this.
go home, baby.
You have something like this where you get a Japan versus England in a knockout stage. It's one game, and anything can happen. And so you could have a heavily favored England at 12% that, gets sent home. So I don't know. It's going to be fun. I'm getting excited.
I can hear that in your voice.
It'll be great.
Netherlands, Ecuador 1-1. Interesting fact: Ecuador, the best country at ties. 8 of their last 10 games have been a tie. It might get you through the group stage, especially in this expanded field. I think just impressive to not lose to Netherlands. Really, Spain played Egypt. Spain going scoreless for the first time since September of 2024. Probably not the best way to end this run into the World Cup, but it is what it is. Especially as teams like France looking really good, Brazil. I'll let you talk about the next one because I don't have anything nice to say.
I don't either. Obviously, U.S. goes down 2-0 against Portugal. I actually watched most of that game. Nothing to say. Honestly, watching the game, I just felt like, and it's a friendly whatever, but I just feel like our players were not hustling. They were not attacking the ball. So I don't know. Maybe they're just whatever. We'll see. And then Pulisic's hurt. I don't know. He sucks.
I'll just say it. He's it's not good. He was good before, but shit got to his head, and he hasn't scored a goal since he made the Trump celebration, which I think is hilarious.
I saw that today, actually.
Americans with their 8th straight loss to European sides, so not even ties or no wins, loss. Good news for Americans. I guess Turkey being in their group is the only European country they're playing. So hopefully that streak ends there and they can beat them. But they still have 2 more friendlies. Senegal being one of them, and then closing out versus Germany, again another European side. Listen, for the sport, I hope the U.S. does better than the way they're going to do in the World Cup, especially because we are hosting. I do think it's funny that Mexico tied to Portugal and then tied with the country that beat the U.S. 5-2. And I'm really excited about that. Mexico 1-1 with Belgium. We'll just jump to that one since we're just talking about it. It's we gave up our first goal of 2026. Not bad for it being the last week of March. And I would say we're pretty happy with that. We have 2 more preparation matches, one versus Serbia, one versus Ghana. I mean, like I said, the country is ready for World Cup. It's so funny, Mexicans, last 4 years hating on the team. We did win the regional championship a couple of years ago, but the team, people just have been hating on it. But as soon as the nationalistic side of it, the patriotic side of it comes out, everybody, my whole feed of my Mexican friends and just stuff that the algo feeds me, everybody's so excited to go cheer. I'm excited to go cheer. We have some Mexico stuff coming up with Maybe It's Football as well, which I'm excited for. So
speaking of crazy fans, did you see the Bosnian fans?
I did.
With the
I did. I mean,
on
dude,
the apartment buildings and it was actually
that's soccer for you. That is what's going to happen. That is how people celebrate. It's just the best sport in the world.
So Bosnian fans were so crazy. They were talking about this on the broadcast that if you notice on the broadcast, there was a bunch of empty sections, like completely empty sections of the stadium they were playing in. And it's because the Bosnian fans in their previous game, which was like 7 months ago, their previous home match, their fans were so crazy, so rowdy that FIFA essentially like penalized them and didn't allow them to sell tickets in certain sections of their stand because their fans were so rowdy. So yeah, this is just, it's going to be insane.
This is how you celebrate qualifying for a World Cup.
Crazy.
Like this is how you say this is soccer right here. This is what's coming. This is what nobody is thinking about. Like the passion, the nationality, they just like we're on this together. There's so many parallels to NFTs, which is why we love this. And been spending a lot of time writing a couple essays to tie MeBits, our traits, and then football, national identity, jerseys, all the stuff that we're doing. But yeah, this was the celebration for Bosnia qualifying.
I mean, I think one of the coolest videos ever is from last World Cup when Argentina won. It went mega viral. There's a drone video in Buenos Aires, and it's like, I think that I'm gonna look it up for next show. Millions of people like out in the streets, the highways.
Dude,
like all
whoever wins this year, it's going to be the same. I don't think you've
covered in people.
Whoever wins the World Cup is going to. That's what's going to happen. I mean,
so cool.
It is. That's exactly what's going to happen, and I'm so excited for it. Dude, if Mexico ever won the World Cup, like the country would not work for 2 weeks. We would just all be partying in Mexico City. Like when my club team, which is Pumas, when was it? Back in 2004 or 5. We won. I was in college, and we won the championship, the local championship. I was in the stadium. We won in PKs. I mean, half of us were crying. Like, you don't even like realize how much of an emotion it is. It just like tear up. Everybody's like cheering. And then everyone just took buses downtown to Reforma, which is the avenue that you've probably seen on TV or whatever, photos with we have this Ángel de la Independencia, which is this column that has this golden independence angel on top. And that's where Mexicans celebrate stuff. And then there's a couple of other sculptures and statues in that avenue. 100,000 people like just celebrating. It was insane. And so that is what gets me excited. Did we cover all the international friendlies? I feel like we're missing one.
I think we missed the Argentina-Zambia, which was an interesting one because that was likely Messi's last game on home soil.
In Argentina.
Yeah, in Argentina.
Yes.
So, I mean, that must feel surreal for him, obviously.
Although they've been saying that for 4 years.
Yeah.
But obviously probably closer than
He's how old is Messi?
not.
He's 30.
Messi,
Messi,
like
38. He'd be 42 at the next Cup.
Hey, Memo Ochoa's playing for Mexico at 40. But yeah, he's probably done. And also, I think as a star, you want to give the younger generation, like, you want to make room for them. You don't want to, like, and I feel like I don't know him personally, but he looks like such a good guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if he, like, steps aside. Even if he's not, they might call him to be on the bench just to, like, support, like, almost like an assistant coach. That happens a lot with older players. But also when you are him, it's hard to be sitting on the bench. We'll see what happens. They have this tournament.
41. So Messi doing it at 42 wouldn't be crazy.
Brazil 3-1 to Croatia. Again, nothing really to draw there. I think that the surprise was Brazil looking so weak against France last week. Just Brazil getting a little revenge on the side that knocked them out of the last World Cup. So yeah, that was at the Qatar quarterfinals. Croatia went on to win third place. Again, not a country. And if you ask the average person, what are like the top 3 countries in the world per Qatar 2022, I don't think people will remember Croatia. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they were third place. Let me see. I've been making up facts here and there. recently trying to do a gazillion
I mean,
things.
for this year, they're at 1.1% on Polymarket. So that goes to show you how crazy of things can happen.
Yeah, they won the third place. They beat Morocco 2-1 after defeating Brazil in PKs 4-2. And it's funny because they were second place in Group F with 5 points under Morocco. Again, you were talking about like how the knockout stage gets crazy. So Croatia qualified to the knockout stage after just one win and two draws. They were actually second place to Morocco, who won 2 games and drew one. And then they went their separate routes during the knockout stage, and Croatia ended up defeating Morocco in the third place playoffs. So definitely, a bunch of new countries really taking over soccer. Exciting, exciting. What's not exciting, or at least was not exciting yesterday, FIFA had a
Quite the blunder.
like they called it the last call for tickets. Um, and so I logged in at 11 a.m. on the dot, which is when they opened. I was actually in a queue for, I think it was the better part of 7 hours, maybe to like 6 p.m. And then I saw this screen. Now, mind you, I chose Mexico, so this the currencies are in Mexico in Mexican pesos, but just divide by 20, so 20 pesos to a dollar roughly. Um, and you can see how these prices are. I'm not gonna click through any of them because I think this portal is it's already taken offline. So this is just from when I just left it open last night. But yeah, ticket for the opening match starting at $12,000. Uh, Even Korea versus Czechia, again, not countries that are that big, right? Like there's other countries that are, people will travel, but not that big. $1,700. Mexico versus Korea is at like $2,500. This is for the starting price for the leftover tickets. This is a game that I really want to go to because it's in Mexico City. It's starting at like $4,500, which is absolute bonkers. So these are all the main games that are going to happen in Mexico. It's a shame because I think we have the best country for soccer. So I wish we could have seen more teams come to Mexico, but we'll do with these. And then we have a couple of knockout stage games. And then I believe this is one of the semifinals. And that's starting, yeah, $4,000, $3,500 for starting prices. So FIFA under a lot of fire for how expensive the tickets are. I mean, I'm gonna click here, see if I can still see prices from some of the other matches. Yeah, still works. So let's see, United States. I have to change to the US. Let's see if it still works. Nope, we're back in high demand. So this
People
is
still trying to buy.
the queue. There's no tickets left. Like I looked, I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to like, for me a consolation. Maybe we can stop. Well, actually, I'll go back to the odds just to see where things are. But for me, it was like, hey, maybe we go to. I mean, we're in New York, Philly, Boston, all close by. I mean, there was like $1,800 tickets for nosebleeds for like some like games of countries that half the world cannot place on a map. So we'll see what happens. The official ticket resale portal from FIFA opened at 11 a.m. They also have this right to ticket NFTs on Avalanche. Maybe we can dive deeper into those next week. But yeah, before we close out the show, let's go look at how the prediction market, how Polymarket has been pricing the odds. Again, I think for me, the big mover in my mind, at least, has been France. Just the way they handled the Brazil, and then Colombia, which is a very strong side. And listen, the market reflects that, right? It went from 10 cents recently. Like, what is that? March 29th. I think that's Sunday. It's at 13 cents. So that's a nice little 30% rally. And I think that would have been a good position to put on after the Brazil game. Because remember, France was playing down a man, if I remember correctly. And with their move, England is now the third favorite, obviously seeing a drop here, which we mentioned that before, right? Like English people have been like, yeah, no, we're shite, mate. there's no way we are like the second favorite country to win, and it has reflected that as well. What else stands out? I feel like the rest of the stuff is pretty standard. Obviously, Italy, which was here like in the top 10, went to zero. Um, oh, look, Argentina like really fading.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just looking at that. They've in the past month have gone from about 12 cents to 9 cents.
Yeah, that's a 30% move. That's not nothing. And then you can see group stage again. I don't think too surprising here. I think the opportunities really lie in those groups that are more diverse, like Mexico. Mexico Group A. Where's Group A? A coin flip. I feel like those are fair odds for Mexico to win the stage. I feel like this is really mispriced. I don't think the U.S. will win Group D. They will make it to the next round. I don't think they'll win the group. Turkey again, like a really really strong momentum there, and again the market reflects that with 60%. Any other markets here that look out for you? Again, Japan 1.8. They were 1.5, so 30 cents. What is that? 20% rally after defeating England. Even though they had been like price steady at 1.7. I don't know. This seems to me quite interesting. Potentially want to take a closer look at, if I'm being honest. Probably end up doing something there. Any ones you want to talk about,
No,
Hunter?
yeah, none are really sticking out. I was looking at Belgium to see if they had a bump just after their friendlies. Nothing really crazy there. Couple teams just slowly trend, like Netherlands slowly trending up, but nobody with anything too wild.
Yeah, I feel like if you wanna, obviously, like none of these teams down here are gonna win the World Cup, but man, you make it from, you put a strong group stage showing, and then you win your next match in knockouts, and then all of this become 10-15%, and that's really really interesting. So I think there's a lot of alpha in just trying to look at group composition and kind of like how the different teams are working their way up to the World Cup through these friendlies and their qualifiers. I do think, and part of the reason for this stream is we want to help with that, because we're doing it ourselves, right? Like I think it will make for a very enjoyable just experience to like analyze the teams, because then it's better, I think, to enjoy the games. I don't know. I'm just starting to go in circles.
Go back to 4 years ago and see like where Croatia would have started, and then see how high their odds got by the time they were playing for third place. Like that was probably a wild jump.
Yeah, so I would say here France definitely my favorite, and then Japan, dark horse for sure. I think Norway, dark horse as well, but I think Japan, at half of that is undervalued on a relative basis. And then if you know how teams are preparing and stuff, like you can also already see and project the full bracket. Right, if like your team wins group stage, and let's say like you already know like Group A is playing, like whoever wins Group A is playing, I think Group L on the next stage, like the second place or the third best place, and so you can model the whole thing, which makes it really interesting. Maybe we'll show you guys some of that in a couple of weeks.
Okay, speaking of brackets, I've been having some late night dates with Claude, so maybe have a little something cooking there.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just going through my notes here. Make sure we didn't miss anything. But no, that's all I got. Obviously, we have Champions League next week. And I don't know, I feel like we like the Monday stream. Maybe we do it again next week to get everybody ready for the next stage of the knockouts here in the UCL. And the U stands for UEFA, which is the European Confederation. So UEFA Champions League, the UCL, Arsenal, I don't want to say clear favorites, 26% versus some of the others, but they are the strongest side coming in. But it's best teams in the world can always get an inspiring performance, and we'll break all of this down next week. But yeah, for now, Hunter, anything else? Anything else we want to leave the crowd with?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, Champions League's next week, quarterfinals there. Like, we're in an exciting time. We have essentially, we'll see out the Champions League all the way till almost right to the beginning of the World Cup, which is.
And by the way, not to leave the women out, but they also have their Champion Leagues going on, and it's been a lot of like interesting stuff there. Maybe we can also discuss that next week.
Monday,
Give
yeah.
you guys like a little like summary of what happened, and also like the national leagues are rounding up. Here in the US we have MLS. MLS is on a broken schedule. They're not aligned with the international schedule. They are moving to that for their next tournament, so that one's a little funky, but that kicked off a couple weeks ago. We had Messi here playing NYCFC, and then yeah, a lot of good soccer. I do want to leave with this, which is something that I mentioned before, and this was, again, if you just search for Mexico Congo, these are like Mexicans just cheering on Congo during or after the game there.
There was some wild footage too. I have some friends in Congo because I lived in.
Oh, this is that guy. This is that guy.
Oh yeah.
This guy just stands there the whole game.
Oh,
like that's amazing. Like that's just awesome.
Yeah, there was some wild.
Dude, I can't sit still like through the freaking 1 hour like stream. I gotta like itch my nose and stuff. But yeah, soccer is amazing, and I am looking forward to the World Cup. So with that, I'll leave you with what I saw yesterday for most of the day, which is experiencing high demand. And we will see you all again if you're a Meebits holder. Our 5th anniversary celebration with Matt and John from Larva Labs, obviously the creators of Meebits, is coming up May 2nd here in Soho, the late afternoon, early evening. Very special reception that we're doing, and Matt and John will be they're making some birthday gifts for every Meebit. You don't have to be here. It'll be for every Meebit. And then we'll run it back. We'll have a celebration in Lisbon at NFC Lisbon on June 5th. And that will be more of a football team celebration, obviously just a week out from the World Cup. So if you're a European holder, we'll see you there. But for now, I just hope everybody has a really good weekend. We'll have another, I think we said Monday or Tuesday 11/11 stream to get everybody ready for the Champions League. And this has been fun. Hunter, what are you doing this weekend? Playing some soccer?
I'm actually flying to Vegas tonight for my anniversary.
Wow. Congrats.
Been married to my wife 11 years now. So we're going to go do a little, I'm actually excited. We're going to the Elenium concert at the Sphere.
Nice.
And so I've never been to the Sphere. I mean, I've been to the Sphere, but not inside. So yeah, we're going to go do a little concert in Vegas and celebrate 11 years of being happily married.
Well, congratulations to you and Mrs. Bojangle guy. And all right, well, I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. Safe travels, Hunter.
Yep.
And we'll see you all guys next week. Don't forget, like, retweet, go follow the Meebits Football account. Go follow our new Instagram at the Meebits. Yeah, that's going to be full of football content coming up here too. Thank you, guys.
Sweet. See ya.